Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom, presenting 7 reasons why admit to me liberates me from me. So I'm awake and aware of the dare to admit to me energetically liberates me from me, energizes my frequencies of freedom to flow through me, matures my energizer, energizing authentic admissions, dissolves self-imposed constraints and cognitive recollections, instantly energizes sovereign, untamed trailblazer tenacity that liberates my pathfinder foresight, rises me beyond cultural condition structures and perceptions of my life. It elevates my innate autonomous expansion that expands my forthright veracity. And veracity, I never lie to me. That expresses to me, I never lie to me. Sets me free to express unshackled authenticity, sovereign veracity, energizes limitless articulating acumen, dissolving conditioned hesitations that are in my subconscious frozen in time representations and in my thinking knowing mind. As I let go of the hesitation, it energizes boundless trailmaker moxie to admit to me, as I admit to me all my events, encounters, and experiences that I tried to hide from society and the outside world are holding me back today. I admit to me to free me from me. What that is anything you're afraid to put into the world is holding you back. Because I know from my childhood, I tried to hold back. Oh, if I don't tell nobody, nobody will know. Well, the trouble is, the challenge is, I held it in and I kept having them current thoughts, process, images, and all the frozen in time representations that kept me stuck in yesterday. And I admit to me, I was good at staying in yesterday. My egotistical arrogance, fears, immaturity, insecurity, stubbornness, hard-headedness always wanted me to be something I never was. Afraid of life. Everything you think is in the outside world is inside you. And it's like I was talking to a friend of mine. The only one that you lie to or lie about is yourself. When you say something bad about somebody in the external world, you're really talking about yourself. And I had somebody send me something unsavory on Twitter. So I says, how do you feel? Them are your words talking about yourself. Never heard from him again. And that's something I really pay attention to now in my life. Because if I'm putting it out there, it's coming from in here. So that's hiding inside me. And how much of your childhood is hiding inside you? Because mine was. If you look at the socialized train tracks of life, everybody has the perfect childhood. I had a very imperfect childhood, but yet I had the most omnific childhood I experienced, because everything that happened in my childhood was to mature me out of yesterday and mature my inner self to feel good about myself. But no, why happened to me? Why did they have that? Why did they have this? All I did is feel sorry for myself. But I could become the best complainer. And that's the thing. When you are judging, or you feel or you sense insecurity and complaining, you're jealous of other people, but you're afraid of yourself. And that's the thing about everything, everybody. We're afraid of ourselves. We lie to ourselves, but we think by telling a story, we're actually setting in the world doing something better. We're really ingraining our own unwanted stuff. Everybody else in the world is second. I was the best at complaining and being jealous. One thing I like about admitting that today, admit it to get rid of it, token open my frequencies of freedom to feel the robust elegance, energized dreamers on omnificence, mystically chauffeurs me through life with the greatest of ease. Everything's with the greatest of ease. The more I whined and complained, the more I drained my own energy. And I really realized the more I complained, the harder my life was. You complain to have pain. So when you open up to your inspirations, you drain the pain of yesterday to yesigize every day, splendor today. And yesing you're a blessing, or yesing I'm a blessing, however you want to say it. And then, in my childhood, we weren't wealthy, but we were wealthy. We weren't rich according to society, but we were wealthy because we had our health and we understood how to make money. We just never understood how to invest our money, because that's something we didn't have in the 50s and 60s, because the stock market crash in 29 was still fresh in everybody's mind. Oh, don't put your money in there. They're going to lose it. They're going to lose it. Well, I fell prey to my own ignorance. And that's what we do. We fall prey to our own ignorance. But when you can admit it to get rid of it, to energize your liberating sovereignty, you set yourself free. And then you don't have to go into the drama of the situation. All you got to do is you can sit down and write it out, go to a park, write it out in a piece of paper, but never do it in your house. Never do it where you live. Go to a park or go someplace. And then when you get done and you get everything wrote out and out of you, make sure you never take that writing home. You you get up, park by a river with a little breeze so it all blows away. But get up, you rip it out. And as you're walking, you just start ripping it into shreds. And as you're walking by a garbage can, you drop it, keep walking, and leave it there. And you have to admit about your parents. My parents, we had some addiction problems, and we had a lot of very combative communication in our house. And man, did I latch onto that. Woo! But I had to awaken to admit that's where my anger and my frustrations began. And I just embellished them all the way to about 4 years ago, when I realized the only one that can make me angry is me. And the veracity of that is I'm the only one that can make me mad. But the bigger something is, I'm the only one that can really do anything to me. Everything that happened in my childhood or in my life, I allowed it. A lot of times it was trying to fit in and thinking I was a big shot. The only thing I was I was a big shyster. The more I admit this, the more I can laugh at myself. And when you can open up to laugh at yourself, you can liberate you from you. And that's what all this self-help, personal growth, everything out there is liberating you from you. And what it really does, it rises you out of many things, but it stops you being a follower of a lot of things. And whatever happened in your school years, I was never the teacher's pet. I was never the popular. In fact, if you wanted to say it today's life, I guess I'd call being bullied. But I got even with them. But I was being bullied because I was always trying to be something I wasn't. Man, that feels good getting that out there. My parents, they did the best they could, but my parents always had food And I always had a place to work. We started working very young. I started at 10 years old. No big deal. And that made me, have a good work ethic today. And see, the thing, I grew, and then I kind of let go of that work ethic and become a lazy booger. And then I rose back into being a facilitating, participating in my life. Admit your life to you, every facet, everything that's occurred, good, bad, or indifferent. And when you start admitting the bad stuff, you start letting it go without having to go into the drama of it. That's the thing about admitting and appreciating. You stop the drama of your life, because we always think, "Oh, this happened to me." Well, drama is a habit, because we always have something like when something unsavory happened to me, I'd get mad. And getting mad is probably the most immature thing I can do, or I did. Instead of just doing usually it took longer to get mad and throw the fit than it did to finish it, or to do whatever it was. So why admitting to me liberates me from my viewpoints, opinions, beliefs, childhood, parents programming, ancestor, survival mode mindsets. That is a sovereign admission, dissolving inherited constraints, recognizing conditioned influence, unveils the hidden barriers and boundaries within me that activates and unshackles my enterprising scampers out of yesterday to rise me beyond my programmed perceptions and ancestral survival narratives. That's something I really want to express to people, something I've really opened up to. If you take out the the medicine and the medical advances and the computers and technology, and you look at the bare bones, we still do a lot of things just like our ancestors. And it's no big deal. All you got to admit and see where you're doing things like that, and then rise out. Because one thing, when you're doing stuff like our ancestors and our parents, you haven't energetically listened to your own intuitive wizardry to set yourself free from you. That's something I really understand. Oh, my childhood. I about 4 years ago, I awakened to this. And I said, oh my God, I do everything just to stay the same. And I do all the things, the CDs, they said, but they never they never said, energetically listen, intuitively question to comprehend you. So we never understood ourselves. We try to know ourselves, but knowing yourself and understanding yourself are two separate things. But when you understand your grand to expand, you rise in many ways. The biggest thing is just don't make it a big thing. Just say, where do I do things like my ancestors and my parents, and how do I follow them? And just whatever comes, maybe nothing will, just write it down and see, and just sit down, write for about as long as it takes. And when it all clears away, you'll stop writing automatically. Why my childhood still controls me in my adult years is unresolved imprints shaped by present perceptions. See, the here and now activates your unresolved imprints that keeps you stuck in today. I was a professional. And where the subconscious frozen in time frozen in time conditioning echoes past influences, guiding adult choices through inherited frameworks from your childhood, your parents, and rather than rise of sovereign emergence, of energized and enterprising mystique within you. You are a miracle walking through life, but we're so caught up in everything that isn't, we never get it dissolved. So when you recognize it and dissolve the unconscious frozen in time representations where admitting childhood imprints control you today, controls today, unveils the hidden constraints within you, activating the sovereign ignitions, liberating you from you, and to go beyond the inherited control from your childhood. And see, that's something I really awakened to is my childhood. It controlled me because I was a selfish, spoiled brat that went splat a lot. That's just life. But it was a liberating invitation, freeing everything within me. And why liberation and admitting to me rose me out of limitations, the limitations of self-help, personal growth, self-improvement, therapy, education, and punctuated writing, stagnation. And something I've really learned, and not learned, I comprehend and understand now is self-help, personal growth never lets you out of the past. You keep recycling the past, everything in your everyday life recurs just like the past, because you're stimulating your ingrained, frozen in time representations of your past. Liberation is the sovereign energy that rises you out of your structured progressions, where with a liberated admission dissolves predefined frameworks of your thinking, knowing, memory, mind. And something about also written books. When you read a written book and you're trying to do what the author says, you're not only doing what they say, but you're doing their limitations. But one thing you're never doing when you're thinking and doing what somebody else is doing, you're never energetically listening to your own intuition, imagination. That's free flowing energy within inside you. And something I'm going to share with you guys. I've really risen out of enterprise, energize, all the EN words. It's enterprise, energize, Innergizer, innovation. What that does, it puts it here. You innovate to innovate. Innovate starts here. But as your liberated admission dissolves predefined frameworks of your thinking, knowing, memory, mind, activates boundless expansion beyond your static growth models, imprints, and patterns within you. And it unshackles the insight that dissolves your conditioned narratives where self-help and therapy reinforce recurring improvement, while liberation dissolves the limitation into infinite scenarios of liberation, fun, sun, and success. And it's an energetic recognition, activates omnific innovation, and you really omnific is the most powerful innovation there is, but it activates omnific optimism and innovation for you to rise out of yesterday, color and design today with your desired lifestyle, where sovereign veracity amplifies enterprising expression beyond the punctuated refinement of books written by somebody else. That is, and then you get to, as I unpunctuated my books, I forged liberated articulation without structure constraint. Punctuation is an unknown structured constraint. If you just want to try something for 30 days, unpunctuate your self-help, personal growth, or your sovereign liberation, politically incorrect inspiration, and see how you feel at the end of 30 days. I started unpunctuated my writings in 2011. I'll never punctuate another writing. Now in business and when you're dealing, you got to punctuate your writing. But there's self-help, personal growth. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. I'm showing people a way to rise, shine, and expand their life out of yesterday. Why admitting my limitations to me liberates me from me. That because the recognition of my own limitation dissolves constraints and complaints within me as my sovereign admission unveils hidden barriers, boundaries, and barrier within me. See, when you set a boundary, you set a new fear. When you have the encompass, the grit, get, and go to question why you're wanting to make that a boundary, you rise out of the situation. But as you rise out of your barriers and boundaries and bondages, you activate unshackled, energizing wizardry beyond the conditioned limitations that you taught yourself. We taught ourselves the limitations. That's the thing about life. Everything in your life you taught yourself. You listened or heard what other people said, you embedded it, you taught yourself. So when you can admit you taught yourself, you liberate you from yourself. I'm admitted to me, all my sabotaging enemies are within me. That's the thing. Everything you think is holding you back is within you. And the outside world is innocent. But when you have something come up and you feel something going on in here, that activated a frozen in time representation within your inner landscape. And that's what it did. And see, the only enemy you have in your life is you. When the first time I said that to myself, I had to go catch myself because I said, what the heavens are you talking about? But it's true. We think and know enemies. We energetically listen, question, comprehend, dissolving all the enemies within us to open up our utopian savvy to communicate with the world through our vanguard veracity. Because vanguard veracity is you're the leader that never lies. That would be nice today, wouldn't it? And that's why I asked why my childhood still controls me in my adult years. Why I unknowingly blame my parents for my life today. Because I inherited narratives from my parents shapes today's perceptions from my parents and past, where subconscious conditioning frames the experiences and the words and everything that went on in the situations. It's attributes to present moment struggles from past influences rather than understanding the sovereign emergence. Whatever's occurring in the outside world that triggers me internally is for me to either rise, shine, expand, either expand out of something, expand of something, or it's just indifference. And sovereign emergence is the internal, you let go of the internal resistance that mirrors limitations. Limitations ain't in the physical world. Limitations are right here. And I have plenty. You want some? And where conditioned fear and doubt arise as self-construed barriers and bondages, they passed out of my life 10 seconds ago. As I electrifies my trailmaker sovereignty, eliminates fragmented hesitations from yesterday, as liberation unfolds within me, sets me free. As I am awakened and aware, sovereign liberation dissolves inner sabotage, activating unshackled sassy tenacity, communicates away program constraints from my childhood to present day. As I enjoy today with a daring audacity, yesing I'm a blessing. As what this is all about is admit to you you're free. Admit to me I'm free. You know, whatever happens, even today, if something occurs and was unsavory, admit it. And then question it and listen and question it. But when you get the nowography done, nowography is what you write here in present moment. It's an autobiography written in present moment. When you get that done, make sure it's not over 10 or 12 words. See, we like to make a story. Oh, this happened to me. And every time you tell the story, pretty soon it's a full-blown fable. I'm good at that. Hell, somebody wants some practice, I'll show you how. But if you can have it into 10 or 12 words, it's like going down the road, having a flat tire, going across the interstate, across the median, almost getting hit by a truck, almost hitting a Jersey barrier, and coming back across, almost hitting another truck, and almost hitting a pillar of the bypass, but you come to rest on the side of the road. Here is the nowography. I had a flat tire. I changed the flat tire. I'm on my way. See how that cuts out all the exaggeration? There probably wasn't a semi. There probably even wasn't an interstate. He's going down the road and had a flat tire, pulled over and changed it. But it sounds better when you tell your friends about the exaggerated part. I know I've done that. I really pay attention now, so I keep it into 12 words, and I cut out anything where I'm blaming other people. And I want to thank you for listening to I Admit to Me, I Liberate Me from Me. And may your life be as blessed as you are a blessing to me, and we'll see you next Tuesday.